Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Well, I'm very happy with the results of what the patrons have picked this time around.
Was there any point in them even having a vote?
Only in the sense of it was the same director who worked on the anime of these two films, so I thought it was only fair. But I thought I'd let's see what because the other one is a good anime to cover, but I kind of secretly wanted to talk about this one for a bit of a nostalgia trip, to be honest.
It's just the same as Pokemon, isn't it? It's just a rip-off version of Pokemon.
It's not.
So it's Digimon, if you haven't read.
Digimon, the movie.
And to be fair, even my mum was like, the other one sounded boring. Is this one like Pokemon? And I went, I think so. Well, I think
it's
so.
Digital Monsters. That's what Digimon stands for.
Yeah, and I went, so yeah, it's like Pocket Monster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, well, I love Pokemon. I don't know if I'm going to love Digimon.
Well, do you remember?
They're not as cute, so
I forget what episode it was, but I showed you a picture of one and you were like, oh, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
I forget what episode that was now, but...
I forget too.
Yeah.
But, was it Ladybird? Something to do with a ladybird?
Yeah, and I showed you a picture and you were like, oh, what's that? Oh, if that came in my house, I'd
kill it. Whereas I think with Pokemon, the reason for my love of it is how adorably cute their character designs and Pokemon style is.
Mm-hmm.
What I've seen of Digimon is they look really weird. I've seen you play it before, and it's just like the same thing, but just a bit more high-techy.
They do like to have some of the designs that are very gun-orientated or like metal spikes or things. Some of that
Pokemon is more earthy and down-to-earth and kind of,
but what I will say is, in terms of a storyline and dramatic tensions, if you want to call it, like things you kind of care about with the characters and stuff, Digimon wins in that regard.
Well, not really, because, I don't know, but I'm not attached to any of them, so am I going to care?
Well, it'd be interesting to see from this as well, as a sort of newcomer into this franchise of sorts, how well it kind of explains, because, say, going into what they tried to do with the Pokemon movie, trying to sort of explain. Obviously, you knew about the Pokemon.
Yeah, so I didn't need that explanation.
But for somebody who was going into it, not knowing about it at all, is it good enough explaining what the world is about in the Pokemon? And similarly, will this do the same with you? Which I do know this film quite well, even though I've not seen it for many, many years. I didn't even have the DVD I've got.
Yeah, the fact that you've only got a DVD makes me think, Okay, so it's not worthy of being on a Blu-ray or, anything like that.
Only in Japan they seem to. But
is it not a Criterion, and all that?
No.
So yeah.
No, they haven't got the rights, but there's interesting stuff that I'll go into once we obviously come back from the film. But
look at the case.
Yeah, of course.
That just screams 90s, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, late 90s, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, it makes me feel old looking at it. It's all very garish coloured and has a bit of a Space Jam kind of colouring to it. Right.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously colourful for the kids. Yeah. But I'll read you what this says on the back of the story.
It's not a lot, is there?
It's quite a long section.
A little paragraph.
So, it reads...
Is that trying to be Eevee?
Well, you'll see in the film. When a powerful new internet Digimon hatches and begins to consume data at an alarming rate...
Mewtwo.
The Digidestined, kids chosen to save the digital world, must put an end to the destruction before the damage becomes irreversible and worldwide communication halts forever. As computer-based missiles are launched and a wayward Digimon kidnaps the Digidestined, only the combined efforts of a worldwide network of kids and a new group of Digidestined can rescue the others and stop global disaster.
So it's literally like the Mewtwo being made in the lab. He breaks out, and they're trying to save the world, basically. Like, yeah, it's pretty much the same film.
But it's not though. It's not the same.
Well, no, because you don't have Pikachu really making you want to cry your eyes out. Well, I hope not. And if it does, I'm not really attached. It's like, Pikachu's so flipping cute. How can you not? Like, when he's going, Pikachu! And he's crying, I'm like, sobbing my eyes out.
Yeah. Well, I hope you like it, and there's like a little catchy theme tune.
What? Like, Digimon? Oh, no.
No.
Gotta catch them all. Like,
No, there's nothing like that. No, it's completely different, because it's not...
Digimon. No. It's some weird 90s, like, hip-hop thing.
Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, you'd be like cringing or...
Oh, Jesus.
But forward to...
I think it's weird because you've got the nostalgia
Yeah.
aspect, so this is going to be highly
Yeah.
ranked for you, whereas I'm coming in not having any nostalgia aspects. Like watching when I rewatched The Swan Princess, whereas looking at it back with an adult head, whereas this is like, I don't even have a child recollection of this, so...
It's just a dream.
I don't know how I'm gonna, like, if I'm gonna really like it or not. Like, not meaning it's in a horrible way. The Pokemon film is alright. I think I fell asleep the first time I watched it.
Yeah, probably. Well, you might also be easier to watch anyway because it's not subtitled, it's dubbed.
Is it obvious?
Yes.
No.
It's... won't go too much detail at the moment, but it's basically translated for a Western audience. But I'll get more into that once we finish watching the
As long as it doesn't hinder the watch, then that's fine. At least it gives me an easy
No,
watch.
you'll probably find it quite funny because I'm some of the humour and it is kind of like, yeah, it's so American. But
Right.
just funny, just the way it's delivered.
I think
great.
we've watched Pokemon initially when I watched it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously,
Dubbed,
dubbed,
yeah. Normally that's how most audiences in the West will have seen it, so, yeah.
Well, we'll see what I think.
Yeah.
Please don't hate me and divorce me if I don't like it. I like Pokemon. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Since it's pretty much the same thing.
Really not. But anyway, let's get on with it. Hello everybody, this is Paul from SP Film Viewers. Just wanted to do a little shout out to try and plug the Patreon. Yep, we've jumped on that bandwagon. Now, you might be wondering, what do you get for giving us money? Well, for the low price of £1 or $1.50 or wherever the conversion is, plus VAT, you get to show your support for the show. You get a nice little shout out at the end of every episode so that everybody who listens gets to know what a great person you are, and we'll also include your handles for any of the social media platforms you're on, whatever you like basically. Also, once a month you'll get the opportunity to pick a movie for me and Sophie to watch and review, so that you really feel like you're getting your value for money. And that's it. For the time being anyways. So head over to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers, get involved, and thank you for being part of the community. Cheers. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions.
Is that what you're going to do?
Don't want to be...
Have to do it for me
claimed
later then.
by-
It's beautifully sang.
Not really. But hype song, don't you think?
So 90s, I will say that, or like early 2000s.
Yeah, it's late 90s, early 2000s.
And it's just like...
A product of its time, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really, throughout it is, with what the songs it comes through and
Yeah. Well,
like what audience it's trying to capture at that stage as well.
You understand what I mean? It's Americanized. With
Yes. I feel like this though is like one of those time trap films.
Yeah, moment in time.
Where-
I don't think it could be done again.
No, but like if we ever had children and we showed it to them, I think they'd be like, "What's with this music?" or "What's with like the way it's drawn?" Like,
Not necessarily the way it's drawn, because that can be replicated.
it can, but I think it's the way like the jokes, everything. It just feels not that it's aged, but just 90s trip nostalgia. Even though I haven't even encountered that.
Yeah. So,
Well, like, initially when we first start, we have this short cartoon.
oh yeah, it's the when it came out, do you recognise the show?
I recognise her.
Yeah, the character's called Angela Anaconda, and that's what the show was called.
I don't think I
But-
watched it avidly. It wasn't like my favourite one to
I
have.
think it was just on. I don't know what network it would have been.
I
on,
feel
but-
like it was Nickelodeon. It looks
Or
like a
something.
Nickelodeon kind of style.
or that, one of those shows. Yeah,
And she looks like a newspaper kind of black and white body,
cut
but
out.
then
Yeah, movement animation. Yeah,
and
rigid.
then like a face, like her clothes are colourful.
So obviously it's interesting that kind of takes up part of the runtime of the film as well, which is
Well, is it really a film? This?
well. We'll get into that. But what did you make of that as initial?
I liked
Starting
it.
point.
Yeah, I think it worked well because you're getting excited, and everyone else is really looking forward to seeing this film, and you've kind of got these set of cartoon characters that are also so
Of
hyped
that
up.
time period, so that's like
Yeah.
a cartoon of not like a Looney Tunes thing where that was be almost like timeless almost.
Mm.
But this is like of that time
Yeah.
that was a show that was, I guess, quite big, but
I think it works quite
well.
actually.
Yeah.
It made me feel
Yeah.
a bit old when I looked at it because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sure I know what that
That-
is.
mhm.
And then you said the name, and I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
I remember watching this. And then looking at how old it looked
Mhm.
made me feel quite old. I was like, oh god.
But I think there was something I read somewhere on like some article or something, but whether it's true or not, it might just be like a made up forum type thing. But apparently somebody said, I shouldn't laugh, but it ruined his life because his parents got divorced because of it, because this thing was going like, oh, I was crying because I wanted to go see the movie, and the parents were already arguing at this point. They took it to the film, and then this came on, and then this kid cried because he doesn't understand why this is supposed to be the Digimon movie.
Oh no.
And so they argued. This is probably all just a lot of a tosh, but
When you're a child, you cling on to that and think, oh, it was my fault that I went to the Digimon movie,
Yeah.
and that's
And
why
then
my
it's
parents
like,
broke up.
it could be a lot of rubbish, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But then you could be
Yeah,
arguing
but-
with your husband going, why did you book it? You've got the wrong
Yeah.
tickets.
Yeah.
Because I'd probably say that to you.
Does Digimon advertised in that? It wasn't like a completely
Yeah.
random why is this short cartoon? Like say,
I
how
just thought it was a trailer or something.
you know how Pixar would have do their own shorts before
Yeah,
it, and
they do.
you're not going into there going this isn't up or
Sometimes I prefer them. Remember that little bird one?
Piper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how you knew what it meant.
Oh, there was 4 of the birds, but that was a long time ago.
No.
But anyway, so like I said, with going to this, I'll explain about the fact what these films are, because they are 3 segmented films put together, basically.
Mm.
So 2 of them are directed by the same guy who did Summer Wars, which we were going to cover. This was against this.
Mhm.
Wolf Children, Belle, we've seen.
I loved Belle. I wanted to cover Belle in this
And-
anime. And you were like, oh, it's too similar because we're going to do Digimon instead. And I was like, and all I want is a plan. Do you know what? Screw you. I'll do it for my birthday special.
and Mirai, the one that you,
The one that I got you,
you
and then you decided
went-
to get a better version. You mean?
yeah.
This is why now, when it becomes your birthday, the romance and obviously in our married life has died off, because I'm like, just give me a list of what you want. Because when I try and be thoughtful, it just backfires and goes, oh, there's another elusive option. Or I get really worked up and go, what's the difference? That one's more expensive. Shall I just buy the more expensive one for whatever reason? Just because.
You're not sure. Yeah.
Or I have to ask you billions of questions. So I feel like the first 2 I really enjoy, and they do somewhat coincide. They do go like, oh, okay, 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. And then you see him kind of grow and develop, and it's the same characters. And then that seems to work quite nicely. And initially when that second part finishes, I'm like, oh, is that it? Is that done? And I think, for me, that's where I feel like this film should end.
Right.
Oh, Paul, I got so confused on the third part. So we'll start off.
Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
First. Tackle bits by bit. Yeah.
First of all, you've got Ty, who looks exactly like a younger version of Ash from.
It doesn't look.
And I might slip up in this, so I apologise, any Digimon fans. I'm probably going to end up saying Pokemon at some point. I really know I am. How many Mons are in this film as well? Like, if you had to take a shot...
Every Digimon ends with Mon.
It's very lazy. Like, if you had to make it a drinking game, you would be rat-arsed.
I don't think it's lazy as
It
such,
is.
because some of them like might describe what they are, basically.
I don't even know what any of them are. So let's say Kyra, what's his name? The dinosaur.
Agumon, or Greymon.
A Greymon, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Same thing.
Yeah, so what's his first one, like his first little stage?
You mean when he comes out of the egg?
Yeah.
Botamon. The little black blob.
Oh wow, I'm impressed. Okay, what's the pink thing with the ears?
Koromon.
Koromon?
How are they specific to Digimon, you mean?
Yeah.
In what do you mean?
You said
the evolution line. Or...
Like they have names of...
Oh, right, okay, right. Well, obviously some are more obvious than others. Like, you might say Angemon, meaning like angel Digimon, or angel monster.
Is that human one?
Yeah, humanoid one, yeah.
Which annoyed me
later on
as well.
Oh,
I had a gripe about that. It's like, no.
Say there was... I'm trying to think of one. But obviously, I think some of them might be, obviously, like, there might be Japanese words anyway. Like, Agu, like, I don't know what Agu means specifically. It might mean, like, dinosaur mon. I don't know, in terms of, like, what that is. But it obviously something monster.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's just the monster on the end just annoys me. Like, can't we just have them, like, without the mon on the end?
So it'd just be Agu.
Yeah.
Or Koro.
Yeah. Like Pikachu, like Squirtle. You don't call it...
Yeah, but they're normally a combination of names.
Pikachu Monster, do you? Or Pikachu Mon?
Pikamon. Squirtamon.
Yeah. It's just annoying. I'm not going to lie. It's just annoying.
I didn't really have...
All I hear was Mon throughout the film. And then this was quite cute when they first start and the egg appears. So it appears through the computer and then somehow merges into the real world.
Yeah, from digital world to the real world. Does this... Overall, though, I'll just say as a blanket thing, does it kind of explain the world enough, or is it still a bit too confusing as to, like, the concept of it all?
I don't know if, like, it's like Pokemon where they live together.
They don't have moments.
But then the first one makes it look like that kind of is the case initially. Yeah. Like, they are living alongside their Digimon.
In the very first movie?
Yeah.
Right. Why did you say that, though? Because obviously it's coming from a different world, the digital world.
It comes from the digital world, but he's still in their room, he's still wrecks their house. Yeah,
but it's still like an alien life. It's like an alien coming down, like E.T. or whatever, coming down to thing. It's like, oh, that's not from our world.
No, I agree it's not from the same world, but they're still...
it's not coexisting with one of the, like, oh, Squirtle's helping me water the flowers or anything like that.
I wish I had a Squirtle.
It's not pre-existing, it's not built into that.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what I mean by that. But that's why a Pokemon is different, is they are just incorporated. They're just like, cows in the field.
Yeah.
Birds in the sky, whatever. They're just there. They just live in the thing and just happen to coexist with one another. It's different.
I guess. Sort of.
So it's more of a, like say trying to hide it from your parents or whatever, because, like, they don't understand what, like, because that's like E.T., whatever, it's an alien. It doesn't exist, and it's like, the parents will probably overreact and take it away or whatever, that kind of thing. Whereas
I do get you. But at the same time, it's like, well, it's still living like kind of like a Pokemon with them. Even though it's digitally come and it's an alien, they're still in the same physical room. Whereas I said the
alien because of it, to explain it. It's not. They're not actually.
What
aliens.
I'm trying to get at is the third one. They're not even in the same place.
The third one.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get to that later.
Whereas this is what I'm trying to say is literally at the moment they are literally like me. I can physically touch you. Yeah. It's not like it's in a universe where it's somewhere else. Is what I'm meaning.
Right.
Like kisses her on the face and she can feed it and yeah. Where it's like the other one where it looks like it's literally they're just playing a game with their Digimons in a digital universe.
Oh right, okay, right, I got you. Because it's transversing between the two. They're not technical. Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean now. It feels like more of a video game in that second film. Because they're not there with them. Yeah. Even though there's obviously from the TV show they have gone into the digital world and interacted with them that way. But I guess it doesn't explain that so well.
I think it's just a bit confusing, really. It doesn't really kind of give you the aspect of what... It does kind of tell you what Digimon is, but from somebody who doesn't know what Digimon is, and then you know in Pokemon very well, you're looking at it thinking it's just going to be somewhat similar. And it is, but it isn't. And I think I struggle with the knowledge of knowing Pokemon and then looking at this thinking I don't get some of the aspects.
Yeah, so that by their fact, it's not the same then. You can't say, oh, Digimon's a rip-off of Pokemon, because it follows a different formula of how things work. It's not the same. So
I think the digital monster inspiration of like these little monsters.
Well, they're like Tamagotchis, basically. That's what they were based off of from an initial concept.
I used to love a Tamagotchi.
So yeah, so they would, and they made like digital Digimon.
And they used to get bigger when they were fed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's how that
the
concept comes from. I think
if I had to pick between the two, I'd definitely go Pokemon anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Just because A, they're cuter, B, it's more structured, C, the evolution is coherent and well thought out, and you don't get lost, and they still look somewhat similar but just get more badass as they go throughout. Whereas these ones changed so many times that I actually didn't realise which Digimon they were.
Right.
So like I was looking and it was going, blah blah mon, Greymon, Birdidamon, whatever, and I'm like, well, what actual Pokemon was this originally? Digimon. Oh, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to deal with me.
Okay.
Not that I didn't like it, I did. But I think it's just when you know something so well and you're aware of it and then this is completely new, it's hard to get your head around. The opening scene though with Tai and Cory, even though it's spelled as Carrie.
Yeah.
That's really cute, and it feels like a bit of a cute Studio Ghibli kind of vibe. She's really cute and small, and she wants to keep the little, like, Digimon and look after it, and I was fully immersed. I was fully embracing it. The storyline for this film is so much more for the two parts. Kind of, it draws you in, you want to know, you're intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a good storyline and plot. And
that's what it has over Pokemon, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. Even like the TV series, you feel a lot more. There's a lot more development with how the characters are in that, but
the issue is,
I
feel more attached with the character than I do the actual Digimonster. That's where I think it lets it down. I'm more character driven by Tai, Cory, than I am like.
Yeah, I think obviously part of the letdown is obviously because you haven't got the nostalgia of it from the TV show or any of the concept of like what they are to those characters anyway, even from when they were at the beginning, because it does touch upon that first film in the TV series as well, very briefly, so it kind of ties in that way to this film, so it wasn't like so it's coherent with the storyline, it wasn't like this is like in a different universe or timeline or anything like that. Yeah, it was trying to keep it coherent with that, and also I think it's mostly down to that really, that a lot of the thing probably would come from if you did know more about how the characters were or the Digimon in the TV series, you probably have more of an attachment to a favourite one perhaps. Or
well, I did get one favourite one, which was weird because it was like in the third one, and I think that helped.
Yeah,
because the third one, I'm not gonna lie, that went over my head a lot. Mm-hmm. The first two kind of do link together, and it's really quite cute and sweet. You kind of get the basis of what a Digimon is and how it kind of is.
How the Digivolve is the evolution method.
And feeding them and helps them grow and giving them love. I don't know if that's another thing or if it's more just food.
I think
you get a best friend.
Yeah. Food helps them, especially in the younger stages, to develop and grow. When he became Agumon, became Greymon in that one, when he was getting attacked by like the kaiju-sized parrot.
Yes, it gets bigger to protect him.
Yeah. That's like a thing, like defense. Like, that's what they do in the TV shows. It's like I've got to save the kids are in trouble. I'm going to evolve to get stronger to stop the big threat. I
have a question. Does he stay that big then once he's evolved, or does he shrink back down?
No. Agumon, the smaller orange dinosaur, he was bigger in this one. They did explain in this one actually with the subtitle, which I kind of glanced over when I was younger. I must have done. That's the only thing I kind of gleaned from this time, was the fact that they said that that wasn't the same one that they met later on down the line in the TV series. because he was such a lot bigger for some reason. I don't know why, but I think it's probably maybe just for the story element and make it look like he's a big dinosaur.
And then he'd run away.
So he would stay after becoming really big. Then he'd shrink back to the normal size. So there'd always be that it wouldn't. So like say Pikachu, or like I say Charmander goes into all the way to Charizard, and then it would revert back to being Charmander again. If it worked by Digimon's logic. So it would stay small. So that's the difference there as well. So it would always be like a nice friendly thing when like a little pal to hang around with you. But then when trouble was afoot, it would defend you, become big, and then once it's all done and dusted, it would go back to being small again.
That's quite convenient. I quite like that idea. But at the same time, I'm like, well, can't you make them cuter? Like the Digimon aren't as cute as Pokemon. Like the designs, no. Look a bit weird.
In what way?
I don't know, just like more teethy and metally.
Yeah, that's more the big ones though, isn't it? Not the... I'm talking about the when they're like
even
really small.
Even when they're little, they're not... I don't know, like they've got weird faces.
Right, okay.
Sorry, Paul, sorry. So then basically, in a nutshell, the beginning is basically finding the egg, him getting big, defeating that moth thing, and then
Parrot, yeah. They never call it Parrotmon, but that's what it's called. Later on I found out.
And then that's kind of...
So they go parrot monster. So there you go. That's what it is a big parrot monster. And so from that's how they become what's they called I think Americanism, but it's called the Digidestiny. I don't know what they call them in Japan, but
this it's like Digidestined.
Yeah, that's it.
I was like, what's one of these then? What is that a Pokemon trainer? What is that?
Yeah, it's equivalent of
I'm sorry, I know we keep going on about Pokemon.
No, I know there's going to be a lot of that through this.
The only way I can actually interpret it, because obviously I've come in blind here, knowing nothing about Digimon whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So this part I think works really well because it's 4 years later. Yeah, it's still with Tai. You see, obviously, Corey.
Yeah, grown up.
Exactly.
This follows on from the show. Basically, it's like after the fact, because there's a couple of things that mention about how things are, the team split up because there's more of them that you saw in glimpses of the first one where they were like looking out of the balcony.
Yeah.
But you technically wouldn't know that because you haven't seen the show. So, they say, look outside your window and like Sora, who was the crossover between the first two films, like that was one of the other team members from the show. And so when we were going into this story, then was it gauging from the start of it, or?
Yeah, I think it was. So Tai kind of swooning over a girl, Corey being more kind of a mischievous little like sister, sending the email out and kind of trying to move on with her life and have her own kind of friends, and she's going to a party. And then obviously Tai's friends trying to get hold of him, but it just shows what summer vacation's like when everyone's got plans and you don't. Oh, I'm at my grandma's, or I'm on holiday, or...
Oh, they were trying to get in touch with everybody,
yeah. So it just kind of shows that.
Yeah.
It works well with the bug online, because I think it's kind of showing the old kind of dialogue.
I think it is, and also I think of that, Millennium Bug, that obviously in you remember the 2000s, when the turn of the millennium, there was the whole worry about the computer virus kind of effects.
Yeah.
So it's of that time as well, so
it works. And what we thought would be would look like a virus, like a bug.
So like a physical
thing eating.
Yeah.
And I think it worked well with how they interpreted it, how they didn't know the internet as well, how slow it was. Just for us, as obviously having dial up and being a 90s kind of 2000
like
teen,
early 2000s,
it kind of feels like quite apt and real, and you can relate quite well to it. This works well, I think, and I don't think it's one that I was captured, I was intrigued, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, this is the main chunk of the story.
Are you happy with that answer?
Yeah. As we're going through this one, like, even the first one had, like, some of the good humour, there's some good humour in the second one as well. Like, the first one has, like, that Ragavan jumps up from that truck. You don't see that, obviously, this is a good thing about the dub, because sometimes the way they do it, they can put these lines over where there's no characters, like, facing away from, so you can just hear the audio. So, like, in that, where the truck drive past, you don't see anybody in it, and this guy said, "Do you see that?" I said, "No, I was sleeping." but you're driving. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like those kind of things. And also, like, in this second part, where there's a couple of great ones where later on in that story, where it's like the phone lines are busy and ties keep ringing up, like, the lines are still busy. And it's like, did you hear me? It's busy! And all those kind of...
Just makes you wonder if that's somebody's job, say the line's busy.
Yeah. It technically shouldn't be, because it should be an automated system, but the fact that the thing is doing it like it is funny. And that other part where it's like, if your phone line is down, please contact your phone company.
Yeah. Just those funny little kind of quips.
Yeah.
I think as well, just with the music, how it kind of merges into this, you kind of get that at the first one, there's like a good song and you're like, what?
The Rockefeller Stank, the Funk Soul Brother.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
Again, Americanism of that, yeah.
And then throughout here, it's petered through as well, and it's more like a...
Yeah, my favourite one is that, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but when this second film opens up, and it's their 1 week since you looked at me song.
Yeah. I
love that song so much from this film. This is the first time I heard it, but I really like that song. There's some good vibe about it. I asked my dad to, this is again showing my age, put just that one song on as many times as he could onto like a cassette tape.
Wait a minute, and you rip into me for listening on songs on repeat. How many times was that song on there?
I don't know how many, maybe 3-4 minutes in length song, so I don't know how many you could fit onto a cassette side, but yeah.
Such a rip-off. How old would you have been?
Well, the film came out in 2000, so...
Did you watch it straight? Did you go to the cinema?
No. I remember seeing it randomly when we were in Birmingham visiting grandparents one time, but going to see the cinema, it was until whether it came out on VHS.
Right.
So,
did you get it for Christmas?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I feel like if you were at your grandparents and VHS, I'm wondering if you got it as a gift.
But I don't know, so maybe a couple years later, I don't know.
Right.
But then, yeah, it's a funny little anecdote there.
Yeah. Even though you always complain when I play the songs on repeat.
Yeah. No, but yeah, like I say, like the songs in it though are very much of the time, but they're kind of like a punky, like.
They really are. They always remind me of the Blink-182. I don't know why. I like that kind of vibe. It's just like, but also weirdly, I know all of them. Even though
you probably heard them, in the back of you, but
if you asked who the band was, I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't know. But all the songs I knew.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah.
Don't underestimate me, Paul Parks.
No. But the threat in this, anyway, the ever foreboding time with the nuclear missile stuff, and I'm thinking that adds a bit of urgency to the situation, really. I think that's kind of even though you kind of know it's all going to be okay at the end, it's still...
I have a question. Mm-hmm. So obviously they send the Digimon...
through into this open white space that is like similar to what is in Summer Worlds. That was the inspiration for this, because it's like he'd further developed that into what Summer Wars was, and also Bell. So,
right. Okay.
So,
but then somehow Ty and his friend get drawn into this internet world.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know how.
Power of love or
but
caring.
Then don't their Digimons evolve together?
Yes.
Did I?
No, you got that right. Yeah. That was like a new concept, like how Pokemon
do.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah. The equivalent of Mega Evolution or something like that. It was later. I didn't know at the time because obviously it was like a new concept. And
was this meant to be like, oh wow?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a new spin on thing. It's called DNA Digivolve.
Right, and then what happens then? They have to be one, or
they become one.
It's like the
Dark Crystal.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Spice Girls song. When two
different ways. I was thinking of the end of the Dark Crystal, and you're thinking of a pop song. more simplistic. Yeah.
I think that, oh, thanks, Paul. I think it just shows what our relationship is there. It kind of depicts it in one shot, doesn't it? So then, when he goes to his baby version, what is he?
They'd split back up again. They wouldn't be like...
What a load of bollocks! This is...
What do you mean it's a load of bollocks?
You can't just decide, we're going to be one person, and then be like, right, we're glued together, and now we're going to separate somehow.
It's not literally glued together, though, is it? It's just that...
But he was one thing.
They are digital data anyway, so they can be what they want, basically.
We're digital, that gets you out of everything. But yeah, I liked all of it up to the fact until they became like one and they were in there and I was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, they killed the bug and the missile was kind of stopped and that was it then. I was like, oh, is that the end of the film?
No, but then it carries on. Yeah.
Then it goes to present day.
So the only overarching storyline, or whatever you want to call it, element that follows through on each one is the fact that this kid Willis has a Digi-Egg as well from the very first story. He has the twins. He has. I don't think, from what I've sort of gathered from like sort of research for YouTube videos and stuff, that he was just meant to just be in the third film. He wasn't had to have anything to do with the first two. They just had to, for the purpose of putting this film together for an American audience, they had to find a way to have him be associated with the other characters in the other two stories. So that's why his inclusion of that, him like, oh, this is all my fault with the virus and stuff.
Yeah.
To include that so that they can tie it back to this third film where it's more about him.
It is, yeah.
Story.
And you're like kind of aware of him, but not. And at the same time, you're like, well, Ty is nowhere to be seen, or if he is, he's hardly there.
Yeah, I admittedly, because they were new characters and the new season was coming out, I didn't have much of an attachment to these characters or this story, other than the fact that Corey and TK, who were from the first iteration, were more grown up, and because they were young when they first started out, and now they're more of what Ty's age was, if that makes sense, when they started out. So there's that, but I do think this is the weaker, but it's not the same director who did this anyway, so it's...
No, that's what I don't get. So it's like, how can you class it as one film? Like, when I said to you, when we finished watching it, you went, what did you think? And I went, I feel like I've watched two different things. And you went, well, you kind of have.
Yeah, it's true. That's how it was.
And this part was okay. There was a cutest Digimon in this one. I don't know its name, but the one that looked like a little bunny rabbit.
Yeah, it's called Terriermon.
Like a Yorkshire.
Like a terrier dog.
I didn't think he looked like that. He looked like a bunny.
They call him Rabbitmon instead.
Oh, Bunnyon.
Bunnymon.
Bunnymon.
Yeah, just say Bunny Blast is his attack.
Yeah. That was weird as well that they spoke. I know we haven't...
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
I found that really strange. Like, instead of just going, Pikachu! He was like saying the...
Yeah, but does that make more of a connection, you'd think?
No, weirdly not.
To have like a...
I think because they spoke, they didn't animate their expressions more like on the actual Digimon. And I know it sounds daft. You know, like Pikachu's eyes, for example. Because he can't speak, he has to be more...
So it's like a silent character, like Shaun the Sheep, where you can only do like... and it's just like the expression, you have to rely on that to tell the story.
Yeah.
Right. So with Pokemon, they have to have the sad eyes or whatever to express what they think. But you feel like they didn't do that with the Digimon when they were speaking? Like they're excited or...
When they were speaking, but the face wasn't as...
Right.
If that makes sense. The face didn't kind of match
I don't
the
know
voice
if that's
as much.
If that's down to animation in this, perhaps, but a little bit. But obviously, if some of them are, say, behind a mask sometimes, like War Greymon or whatever, where they haven't really got a mouth to move.
Is that big one at the end?
No. I'm talking about in the second one, just briefly, when he's in the thing. Or like... I don't know.
Please just don't tell me. Just don't say names because I'm literally not going to know who they are.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean I don't like it. The third part I didn't appreciate. It just felt like it dragged a little bit, and I was like, I don't understand where the main characters are. Yeah,
which is strange because of the fact that this has been heavily edited out. I know for a fact with this. So there's more context to this story, which probably, in fact, would be more beneficial to explaining the story. But because of how it's all been kind of chopped and screwed together, they've had to do, like, very harsh cuts to make sense for, like, say, including Willis in the overarching storyline of everything. So, because I think, like, the original Digidestin were more, like, trapped in, like, a digital world or something, I think, from what I've seen on video clips on YouTube and stuff. But that's nowhere to be seen. Could be like, oh, it's too dark, too scary for the kids. Okay, I'll keep it more light, and also just the runtime. Gotta keep it down to under 90 minutes.
Yeah, of course you do. You do.
So if you didn't include the Angela Anaconda bit, you could, 3-4 minutes, you could have had more time to.
I like that bit though. I feel like that was worthy, and I enjoyed that. Like literally, the Angela Anaconda, the first and second, brilliant. I think it should have just ended there and extended those two because they were really like working. You could have done your first part a little bit extra instead of just like the fight, which looks like.
But I think that's all it was. That the way that it was put together was like that was the director's. I haven't said this. Obviously, I've mentioned about the films done, but Mamoru Hosoda, that was his like directional debut of like a feature film, I think. But that was only like put in Japan. It was only put in like that one like 10-minute film put together as part of like a seasonal collaborative screening with some other films. So it wasn't even like just a segment in like a film festival essentially. Yeah. I'd say. Probably.
But I think because I enjoyed it so much,
and the same with the second one as well. And then obviously the third one was its own completely different director on its own.
It's a shame because I think the first two, because I enjoyed them so much, it would be nice to extend them and get more out of it. And I think the way that the storyline and the humour, I don't think the humour was there in the third one as much either.
They tried.
And the music wasn't.
There was still some couple of other ones, but
not as like in it kind of quite. And the storyline was a bit confusing.
Yeah. Mainly because of how it was all cut together, but the over story was the virus still got to his, which also annoyed me as a kid. We kept calling him Cocomon, even though he'd evolved many, many times. It was like he's not. It's
That'd
like
be a me thing.
Yeah, it would be like just keep calling him the same one. So maybe that's, I don't know, the simplicity of it to keep it less confusing for kids, but at the same time, it's like, well, no, because Agumon and other ones have evolutions in you're saying those names. Why are you just referring to this one Digimon as the same?
Is it because it hasn't evolved?
No, because
he was virus, so he doesn't see it as his.
I don't know, because he also called Terriermon when he evolves still Terriermon. It's like, well, no, you've said his name when he evolves. Terriermon has said that. Terriermon Digivolve to Gargomon when he's with the guns and everything. But
then you said they shrink back anyway, so wouldn't you call them that first version anyways?
I know, but you still refer to them as...
Even when they were bigger?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a bit confusing. Like, why do I have to learn 3 names when you're just going to revert backwards?
Unless you just nickname...
Yeah, I would.
Go Fred. Whatever, and then it doesn't matter what your actual species is, And so, the virus has attacked his twin Digimon he has as a baby, and...
When you say the twin Digimons, this has confused me, because I asked you, and I said, oh, they're the same. And you went, not quite. And I was like I know you can have identical twins, and you can have ones that are not so identical. But at the same time, these just don't look the same whatsoever. So
well, no.
When you say a twin egg, what does that mean? Like, they just both arrived at the same time? Is that what you're meaning?
Well, it was... I didn't really show them hatching out of the egg at the same time, though, but...
Like, were they in the same egg, or were they, like, two eggs appeared?
No, Willis explained that they did hatch from the same egg, so they were twins.
Right. But they were different.
Yeah, not identical twins.
Still similar, some of them.
But you just said they weren't similar.
No, but I mean, twins normally still are similar. Even if they're not identical, they're still similar, which these weren't. Because you had your cute little bunny one.
You could say that about, again, referring to Pokemon here. You have the Nidoran male and Nidoran female. They're different. They're the same species, but...
Yeah, but that's like a man and a woman.
Yeah, but you could still have...
Are these actually gender specific, these
No. Oh, good question. I think, theoretically, yes. You would just associate... But they don't specifically say You can just tell by the voices, I guess.
That like in a game... I don't know if... Do you get to know, like, I want a girl version of, like you do in Pokemon?
No, I don't think that even that is determined by that. I think certain ones just have more of a feminine look on them, but you would just associate them that they are a female species.
Right.
That's what I'm saying about that, so there's no...
This Digimon stuff hurts my head.
What did you think of the other characters then, the new ones that are introduced in the second one, the other... Digidestin. not vibing with them as much.
No, because like I'm trying to remember them, and apart from obviously, like you said, the two that were already we saw them age.
Yeah.
The rest were like, I don't know, getting to a point of where I'm like, there's so many more. But Digimon, there's new characters. I've only just started. I've had probably like an hour of these characters, and now they've disappeared prior, and I've got this whole new thing that I'm like learning again halfway through a film. Whereas you don't really feel like you should have that normally through a film.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Willis obviously was your new tie, which you just seemed a bit feeble and like, oh no, stay away from me. And he's like, people are trying to help you, just stop bitching and moaning.
Get some friends, you loser.
So I think that's how I felt, and I can't remember the others.
We've got Davis, who's like the one who kind of looks like Ty. Tara says that at the beginning of that introduction to them all. Cody is the other one, the one with like the sort of like short hair, skinhead. And Yoli is the one with the glasses and the hat. Yeah. Yeah.
It's alright.
So
I wasn't attached.
It's very rushed, I'll say, especially the last fight scene when we go through all that, it's kind of like just crammed in just to evolve, and then then it becomes big again, and
it really
then it's
hurt
resolved.
The head. It was like, I don't know who's what now and what's what, and all of this. It was just a bit like, I feel like with Pokemon, they still have similar, when they evolve, they look kind of.
Yeah, you can see where some of them are. Yeah.
Whereas some of them, when they've evolved in Digimon,
I could say the very drastic ones, like you said, like we had mentioned before about Angemon and Angelwoman, where they're like, what are they from? It's like, that's Patamon, which is like the little brown mouse with the wings, and Gatomon, which is the cat. Like, I couldn't tell you what the inspiration, why a cat turns into a angel. I don't know.
I wondered if it's the logic of, well, if it's made in Japan, they treat cats like God.
Possibly.
Or if it's a case of, reincarnation, where you're a cat and then you die and then your spirit goes to heaven and then you become a human, and all that logic of like you start off as...
I don't know.
I'm trying to give it more credit than it probably is.
There's probably a reason, a design choice reason.
I just didn't like the fact that they were humans, and I know this sounds really, really bad. I know you're saying they're angels, but they're not a mon, are they?
Not a monster. That's just how it is.
Cat caught your tongue there.
Other than the fact that they are not monster in like a hideous way or a scary way or anything like that. They're just big.
But they're still human.
Creatures. Humanoid. Because they're kind of like mythical, because you could say.
Like if it was human, like part human, part monster, I'd agree more. Like a part human body, what's it? And then a horse?
Centaur.
Yeah. Then fair enough.
Yeah, you class that as a monster.
Yeah.
Would you class like Pegasus as a monster? Like from Hercules.
More a mythical creature.
Yeah. But still creature, monster.
Yeah.
Works the same way.
I guess, but it's still Pegasus is a horse.
There's a Pegasus mon anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. Right, are we going to a scores, or is there anything else that we can give value add to this? Digimon.
Only a couple of things, because I know what you said, like the very last song we heard, which was...
Oh, it was my Shrek song. I love how he's smirking at me.
All-Star, yeah.
It's Shrek.
Well, it's...
No.
It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't the very first film to do that. To include that in like.
Why this one was before?
Well, I thought it was actually, but there was actually a couple of other films that did it even before that. Because Shrek was 2001, which when I looked at it thinking, really, was it really that? That makes me feel really old, because I thought it was like really big in like school when we were maybe like 2003 or something. But I'm thinking, now that's older than I thought it was. But there was a couple of films in 1999 that did it, which I don't. Have you seen Inspector Gadget? The live action one with Matthew Broderick.
I think I have.
Apparently, it's in that one, but I know it's in another film called Mystery Men, which is a Ben Stiller.
I would have seen that
film. But that was like
Ben Stiller's a little bit like my Adam Sandler, not as bad, but still.
Yeah, I know it was that, but yeah, and then like a training
No,
montage for that.
well, it doesn't matter. It's still Shrek to me
Yeah.
because that's where it impacted me the most.
Yeah, because I think that's a long feature, whereas this was just like a quick sting at the end.
Yeah.
Which is very like confusing because I think from what I've gathered also from the internet that bit wasn't meant to be at the end. That was like partway through when he's getting angry in that whole fight sequence bit or something because he's like doing that swaying thing. It's like I don't even know why that was even put in, but yeah, strange. But
I liked it because it was Shrek. Made me smile, anyways. I was kind of glad the film was ending at that point.
Yeah, and you were like, "What? That's it? That's the end?" Yeah, it is abrupt.
Yeah. Even though earlier on I thought we'd ended, and then it was like, present time, and I was like, no. I think that's where I would end this film now, anyways. If I wanted to watch it again, I'd just have an hour of the film.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Are there any other burning questions about the lore or?
Well, I asked you this. They're not even like a type or like who's stronger than other, like apart from being bigger.
Well, I did explain that because it's like it's not like Pikachu's like so overpowered that he can beat what seemingly should not like in terms of like, the game stats and everything. There's no way he would be able to really beat that without getting his ass beaten. But in this, there's like boundaries of like the little stage ones can't take on the really big because that's like rookie, champion, ultimate, and mega, which is what War Greymon was.
Right.
You know,
so
when
there's
they
four
did
evolutions.
Yeah, 4 stages. Mega is like the top tier.
And they evolve either if they've ate more.
Oh, you mean when they come out of the egg?
Yeah.
That's like what they in train a baby when they come out of the egg, obviously, and then
so they all come out like the little black Sputnik.
Yeah, yeah. They come out of not all the same. There's various different types, but they'll come out of an egg. They're born from an egg.
Are they different colours?
The eggs are different colours. All the creatures inside them.
Creatures inside.
Yeah, they're all different colours. Yeah. They can be different.
Like little dust balls.
In some form, yeah, they'll be a very simplistic little blob of some kind.
Because like the one at the beginning evolved like 3 times, didn't it?
Yeah, it's Koromon, Agumon, Greymon.
And then it's got its Grey Warrimon or whatever it is.
Well, Greymon, yeah. We did that. It was super fast, like super level up all the way, basically, just to.
So it went from its. You said it goes to its baby stage, but it went to its like second stage and stayed as that pink kissy face thing.
Mm-hmm.
So why didn't it revert back to?
Well, in that one, because of how it worked with the story of it, just fighting the Parrotmon, and then just disappearing back to the digital world, and that's where you didn't see it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But normally it would just either go back to. That's another thing. It depends how much energy they use to how far they go back to, what stage they go back to, basically. But no further than the little
baby stage.
Agumon stage. Yeah.
Not the little dust ball.
No, not the very, very small, unless they've had to be reincarnated, which is like
and do you heal them?
They don't die.
If they don't die, how do you like a Pokemon? They'd faint. Do they faint?
They just rest, just like a. No, if they faint.
Can they faint? I don't know. I mean,
wait, I have to explain it because if they're like defeated, they kind of the data just gets broken up, and then they go back to being an egg. So they get reincarnated as an egg, so there'd be a baby version of what they start over.
Would they still be the same person?
Yeah. They do because they explain that in the show. Right. Yeah. It's not like I don't know who you are anymore.
It's like a whole new egg's just being generated. It's the same.
It's the same
character.
Yeah. If you've got that bond with them, of course. Yeah.
So, like, if my Digimon was like weak, could I feed it something to make it?
Yeah, and strengthen it up and make it better. Yeah. Just like us, we need fuel, food and drink to make us feel better, energized, yeah.
It's like the sausage curry in Pokemon.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. Or any food, yeah. They're not too picky with what they eat, to be honest.
Okay. How many games is there?
Digimon? I don't know, because there's so many, like, they're only Japan exclusive type of things.
Really?
But, I've played a few of the games.
Are they harder?
Yeah, there are a lot. There are some of them like the other ones on the PlayStation 1. Ones are like really difficult. They're pretty unforgiving, really, in how they're structured and fairness. So they are quite a lot more challenging than what Pokemon.
But could you compare that to like early stage Pokemon and say?
No. I'm talking it's it's a different format of how it works anyway. So it's
What would be the aim of the game? To catch them all?
It varies. Depends on.
So it's not like this, because not mean it's in a horrible way. Pokemon is the same thing.
Has a sort of same formula. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're catching every Pokemon.
And
Just
find
got
the
a
gyms.
different scene, different Pokemon.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's different. Again, that's something different, but in a good way that Digimon does.
So, Paul, final question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer Pokemon or Digimon? I hope I know the answer, because if not, I'll be wondering why the hell we had a Pokemon wedding.
Your Pokemon's the first love, in terms of like a franchise that I really gelled with, because it did come before Digimon.
Clearly.
Digimon's secondary.
I think Digimon's got the idea from Pokemon and then adapted it and changed it. I still think the principle of the baseline of a digital monster or a monster, like a pocket monster, small monster, is the same aspect.
But it works in the way that it could easily be related to just as much today as anything. You know, like we all have computers, even more so than we did back then, and there could be things that live in your phone and whatever, and you know, like you think the government's listening.
That reminds me of that. What did we watch? Made you cry? The Grahams or the
Mitchell's versus the
Mitchells?
Machines.
Yeah,
Grahams.
I don't know why Grahams came into head.
That's the next one.
I love how you just know exactly what I mean, even though I say the complete opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. On the same wavelength, obviously.
You talk Sophie language, that's what it is. It's a special language that people have to learn to communicate with me.
Yeah. It's not always the case. Sometimes you do have to be like, no, please explain. What do you mean? But more often than not, I do know what you're on about.
It's a good job, isn't it? That's why we're married.
Right, I think go to score them. I think we've talked long enough.
I think we have.
Yeah, about this, which is kind of strange, but I kind of been interesting talk, I'd say.
Yeah, it's hit my head a little bit. I think I eventually started to say Digimon halfway through.
Yeah, you did. Well done.
Thank you. It's hard because...
Don't worry, I won't take it too much to heart on this one.
I felt like initially when I started watching it, I was really, really invested. I was really enjoying it. And I was like, oh, this is so good and it's really nice and it's sweet and it's working really well. And I think the third part really hinders it massively. And that's a shame because that spoils the first two parts.
Yep.
Obviously, looking back at what I've scored previous ones within this, I feel like I want to be fair and true to those as well.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So I think for me, it'll be a 7. I don't think that's a low score. Initially, before we got to part 3, it was going to be like an 8.
All right, okay.
So that just shows like what that part did. I really enjoyed the first two.
Despite all what you've been confusion with everything, but
yeah. But the third one was just a bit like.
No, I completely understand and sort of agree with you.
It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah. And
obviously, like reviewing previous films we've done, I've done like 7.5s. And I feel like I can't really kind of score this higher than them.
No,
because it is more they're more coherent, they're beautifully done, and it would just be unfair for me to score it any higher. Doesn't mean that I think it's rubbish and that I don't like it. I think it just is a bit of a letdown at the end.
Okay, that's fine. Before I go to my score, though, I have another question for you. So, based off what you've kind of just said about like those two storylines, does this make you more interested in like seeing more of like an understanding of what the show is about?
Yeah.
Like you'd be interested in like seeing more about the characters to get more involved in like their backstory.
First two characters, like
it's the first group. Yeah.
I think the one in the third part. I'm not so attached to.
But I'd say from the second, certainly in the TV show, there's more involvement with them. They are more present in that, but it's obviously more about the new kids on the block essentially and their story. But they are still sort of heavily involved with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, definitely.
Okay, that's fine. It's good to know.
Paul's like, yay!
Yeah.
It's good to know.
For my score, and I did look back on like what we kind of gave Pokemon first movie.
What did I give Pokemon the first movie?
You gave it an 8.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Well, it's Pikachu. I know it is.
More attention.
Yeah. Pikachu! He near enough made me cry.
Yeah. And I gave it. I had to give it a 9, but
Surprised it wasn't a 10, Paul.
But I gave it 6 for if I was being really critical. Obviously, the 9 was really nostalgia for that one. Now this time, I was thinking about this and that I was going to do the same sort of thing for this, but I think I'll just stick with like a combination of the two and go for the nostalgia trip and the critical side of, yes, the third one is the weakest part and there's not much care for it and I just wish it was more developed. So I'm going to put it at 7.
Woo! That's what the same.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. So I really wasn't sure, like, when you go into this, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be low based off the not having the nostalgia or anything like that. But
no, because initially the first two I really enjoyed. Initially as well with Corey or Carrie or whatever her name is.
Narrating it all. Yeah.
Yeah, her voice, the way she's cute, and you kind of see her grow and develop as a character. And you know me, big fan of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's all right then.
Thank you, Patreons.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to sort of talk about.
You can tell who they side with, clearly.
For this. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to... And obviously, it was like a blast from the past, from some of those songs and the memories of, like, seeing that for the first time or multiple times after that, but having, like, just does all the, like, those jokes and, like, the... Ty's mum, like, making those, like, really disgusting spinach cookies and beef jerky shakes and the gag of that being, like, Izzy, who's one of the other characters, like, drinking it and he's like, he really likes it and then, it's unsettling to the stomach. That kind of funny stuff like that is really, really works. And it's some of the humour in it is a
good
driving
humour.
force.
Yeah.
But, yeah, overall, just not the third one, unfortunately. It doesn't do so well, but at least you say you liked Terriermon from that.
yeah,
he
dude,
was
that
like
was the
your
only
Pikachu,
bit.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cute.
It's like, why do we have to end this fighting?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, that's Pikachu.
Yeah, if you could talk, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you hear about the controversy with that. I think we remember from that, when they did that reiteration of Ash meeting Pikachu in that film, where Pikachu spoke, and everyone was like, what? No, Pikachu shouldn't sound like that. So that's, if they started doing something like that now, there's no way, because you have something in your head clearly of like what he would sound like. If Pokemon were doing that, you'd find it a bit weird.
Yeah.
From the start.
Well, I found it weird initially because I just assumed it'd be like Pokemon. And when they started talking, I was like, what? They don't talk. They're like pets. They don't speak, or if they do, they have their own language.
Yeah.
Like, I would agreed with that, like, they have their own language they can speak, and then you hear that voice. But then humans hear them as, like, whatever, a different sound.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right, well, thank you very much for listening to this episode. And thank you to the Patreons once again. Before we get onto the Patreon segment, we'd like to ask you to go and check out some of our other episodes over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. And also rate us 5 stars on any of those platforms. Now over to Sophie to...
Still don't know how I
Patreon.
got this job. Not that I don't like doing it, but still. Like, this used to be your part, and Paul's just delegating now because he's getting too big for his own boots. Anyways, our patrons, our lovely little family, consists of 5 people, and they are... I'm going to do it in a different order, I think. Spice his lives up.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go for
Let's
it.
hope I don't forget anyone. I'm sorry if I do. Easy, simple one. My mum.
Yep.
Our friend Jonesy. He's on Instagram under the handle @weightlossjonesy. Go, give him all your love and support him. He's got his little Warhammer. Yes, I said it right. Figurines. Paul nodded, Jones. He did, he nodded. Which we saw
the other week. Yeah.
God, the man hours you have to put in for those little things. But yeah, and sniffing glue. We have Ben from Film Vloggers. And yeah, they're still amazing. I'm still envious of the pictures. I don't know if they've come back or not now, actually, to be fair.
No, I
haven't seen
think they're still
anything.
travelling. Yeah, no.
Goodness. I feel like they haven't... I'd miss my bed, I think, at this point.
Mhm.
But envious of the pictures and where they've been. And obviously
Yeah.
they went to Japan earlier on in the year, which kind of links with our anime theme. We have Mark from 100 Things We Learned from Film. So he does a brilliant podcast, which we've had the pleasure of joining, and he's joined ours, but I'll just forget ours, which you can go and listen to and give both of us the like and love and support that,
Yeah, you've probably heard him on other podcasts as well. He's quite prominent with.
Does he
joining
whore
other
his
guests.
cells
Yeah,
out?
he
Is that what
does
you're
a
saying?
bit, yeah. Perhaps, yeah. To put it in some wording, yeah. Just like we do, or I do. Try and jump.
Paul is a whore. He is. He
Yeah.
whores us out to everybody. And lastly, but not least, we have Nico from the Good, the Bad and the Weird podcast. They've been on ours as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely go listen to them, check them out. If you want to be a Patreon, I will let Paul tell
Do
you that
bit.
part.
Yeah. So, if you would like to join our family, get your name read out and get to vote on what we watch once a month, you can do so by going over to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers, and it's just the low cost of £1 or $1.50 a month.
Yeah, so you're only small. I know times are still a little bit challenging, but any appreciation or support, even if it's liking us, following us on Instagram, wanting to jump on our podcast or anything like that as well, we do really value and appreciate it.
I'll take this bit with the saying where you can find us on Instagram, Twitter and TikTok under the handle SP_Film Viewers.
I feel like you've given me a bigger section now for being promoted.
You said you wanted to give a proper shout out to people, so
I said we should. That meant, but
yeah.
Paul's meaning
Okay,
he can't be
maybe I'll
asked
do that
to.
next week.
That's what he's saying, guys.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, Sophie's better at that bit. I'll give her it. So,
Yeah.
being promoted.
So that's anime.
Done.
Well, maybe we'll do a squeeze another one in, maybe because of how the dates fall. Maybe we'll see.
You'd be mysterious, aren't you, Mr. Parks?
Keeping people in suspense.
Oh, will they, won't they? Well, you know what my vote would be if I get a say in this podcast.
Well, thank you very much once again for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the first anime run.
I have. Yeah.
And we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
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 Digimon, monster.